Lauren Schoenfeld, thank you so much for being on the Brick-and-Mortar Visibility podcast. We're super excited to learn from you and hear all the good things you offer the world. So tell us, where are you coming in from?
I'm calling in from Lake Arrowhead, California.
Wonderful. What's the weather? We always talk weather in Wisconsin just for 2 seconds. So what's the weather there right now?
Oh, I totally get it. It is gloomy and foggy outside. We're supposed to get a little bit of rain today, but
Okay.
as a Californian, we always get excited when there's rain because there's always, all the issues and risks of drought. So
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
always happy when there's rain.
Okay, and here in Wisconsin, we are lovely today. It's a beautiful day. It's like 62 and sunny. I went for a walk, a midday walk, which I haven't done in a long time, so that felt really good. So okay, now you're all caught up on the weather, everybody. Miss Lauren, you're going to share with us who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Great. Thank you so much for having me on. My name is Lauren. I own Active Core Consulting. We are an agency that does fractional CFO and COO, so uh, financial and operations for brick and mortar fitness studios. And so we help everybody from getting their finances in order, bookkeeping, financial analysis, creating your business plan, helping you identify what are those goals that you need to hit each month to support the overall goals that you have in your business. We do operations coaching, so getting with the owners of the nitty gritty in their business. How do you structure your team? Schedule analysis, optimizing your SOPs and your processes, literally everything under the sun that combines financial and operations. We think those two, when they work
Mm-hmm.
in concert together, is really when your business thrives. And sometimes those two things aren't the fun or the sexiest things about
Oh,
running a business, but they are the roadmap and the foundations. So we really want to empower our owners to get the core of their foundations in place and then layer on all the more fun things
the
like
bells and
we do with
whistles. Yeah.
SEOs and marketing. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So this is very sexy to me because when you have a team that's working in unison and your systems you're not doubling up on systems and buying multiple things that could do the same thing. Oh my gosh. Our payroll is next to our rent is the biggest overhead we have. So if we can make that more succinct and clean, oh my gosh. Yes, we're singing. We're humming real big. So Okay, so your fitness is back, your background is fitness. So how did you get into this or what made you realize, oh, these are my gifts? Tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, such a good question. I feel like I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I started my career working in big consulting. I moved to New York City because I got bored and wanted that big city life. And then I was never bored for the 8 years that I lived in New York City.
Mm-mm.
I worked at WeWork for a bit, and so really saw the good and the bad of how to scale a business fast and rapidly. But the mission of WeWork, helping small businesses, felt really aligned with my values. And then after WeWork, I went and worked at Equinox Fitness for 8 years. I was an athlete growing up, so working at Equinox really felt like it was bridging the gap between my athletic roots and this finance career that I have gotten myself into. And so I was like, well, if I have to talk finance all day, I want to talk finance all day about fitness.
Okay.
So that's what I did.
Okay.
And then when the pandemic happened and everybody shut down, I was a cycling instructor at a small boutique studio in Brooklyn. And I just had always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I just didn't know what to do. And when the pandemic happened, I saw how hard it was for the execs in the room or the Zoom at that time at Equinox to figure out their cash flow and what they should do with their business. And I just thought, the small business world needs these tips as well. So I started with the cycling studio that I worked at and helped her reconfigure her business. And she was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. You should help more people. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to. So just by word of mouth and referrals over the past 5 years, it went from this is a fun idea. How can I give back during a time of crisis
Mm-hmm.
when I was stuck in my little New York apartment, bored out of my mind, to
Mm.
now we have 7 people on our team.
Wow.
We have 3 full-time people. And so we are just here trying to support and help small business owners. All of us come from big name fitness. So me at Equinox and Soul Cycle, we have Barry's Boot Camp, Orange Theory Fitness, Sweaty Betty. So we really are bringing the tips and the tricks of big fitness down to the entrepreneurs, and it obviously adjusting as we go for each business type. But it's been really fun to just work with a team whose mission, and we all feel very aligned of corporate world wasn't the way for us, but we want to give back and feel like our work is purposeful and making a difference in everyday people's lives.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so my big question, or everybody's big question, a CFO,
What is that?
what is it, and when do we need it, and why?
Yes.
When, why, and how? How? Tell us when we need this service.
Absolutely. So when you think of I think of like Equinox, Soul Cycle, all
Mhm.
big businesses have a full-time CFO, chief financial officer, oversees all the numbers and the finances, the decisions, making sure the decisions are in line with the profitability goals of the company, managing cash flow, making sure you don't run out. How do you invest the money? How do you create more money? All of the money decisions, right? And so
Don't just plant a tree. Yeah, you.
Right. We're gonna plant the seed, water it, and then
Mhm.
watch it grow. Which is funny. We just planted some seeds outside now that the weather is getting warmer. Anywho, at what point do you need a fractional CFO? So the beauty with entrepreneurs and a lot of where the size of our clients are is they don't need a full-time
Mm-mm.
CFO. They don't need a full-time COO, chief operating officer, but it would be beneficial and nice to have some guidance in these areas. So, depending on the size of the client, we have offers that range from fractional CFO, where you get me as your fractional CFO to help you build out your business plan, make smart decisions. Our team oversees your bookkeeping and finances. And so, for the bigger clients who are over $1 million, multiple locations, that's where like my expertise comes in.
Okay.
For like the mid tier, we have, I just finished, actually, today was our last call of our group coaching program called Finance and Flow, which gives you the roadmap that I teach in my one-on-one clients, but in a group capacity. So it's more accessible to the newer or the ramping studio owner. And doesn't matter what stage you are in your business, making sure you're making smart financial decisions, I think is really important.
Mhm.
And so one of my favorite places to start is with somebody who just has an idea. Like, I would love to open a fitness studio. What do I do? What does my business plan look like? And so we work with them, create that 36-month projection, create the plan and the pricing. What should you pay your instructors? How you can
Mm.
layer in different compensation bonuses to help the business hit the goals they need and help your people also create the pay that they need to live. We help them get their SBA loan financing.
Oh, wow.
And so really hold their hand through that initial process. And then we have Lisa, who is one of our operations coaches, and we do a new studio opening offer where she helps them, making sure if, Lauren says the business plan, you need 100 founding members. How do we get that? If you need
Yeah.
200 founding members, like, how do we make sure we open with the founding members that you need? So you're setting yourself up for success from a cash flow standpoint. And also just
Mhm.
so there's people in the room to fill these classes.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so it really pairs both of those operations and finance together to make sure that you're creating a business that is sustainable and you're making smart decisions that aren't going to drain your cash. We want to
Mhm.
continue
Mhm.
building it. And in the past 2 years, I believe we've helped like 5 or 6 studios from this initial phase. And when they start with us, they're all profitable. Their emergency savings are filling
Mhm.
up. And so it feels really good to feel like, okay, if you work with us from the beginning, like, as long as
Yes.
we help you and you follow the guidance, like, you will see profitability we haven't had.
Yes.
Knock on wood. Haven't had a
Yes.
person
Yes.
not hit that yet. So
Yeah.
that's
Good. Good.
really, really
Yes,
fun.
because without money in the bank, there's no mission. That's what my coach says. And
Right. Yeah.
many of us, fitness, dance, arts, we have this passion. We love it. We love it. So then we open this business, and And I was guilty of this for years of just not building in that profit. And then getting, and you've said this, I've heard you say this, you get burnt out. You get burnt out real quickly when you're not making money, and it's just not fun. So creating that business to be profitable, how do we build that? How do we be profitable? So let's just ask that. How can we be profitable? What you have 3 ways that we can be profitable. How can we do that?
Yeah. So when we think about profitability, the first thing that I like to look at is taking a look and creating business projections, really understanding what are the expenses that you need to run your business, doing an expense audit, making sure we're getting the ROI on every dollar that you're spending. We take your expenses, we get an understanding of how much money do you need to live. I call it your owner's pay roadmap. And
Mm-hmm.
this not only accounts for your bills and your habits, but also what are your short-term goals and what are your long-term goals? And are we making sure that your pricing and your offer suite is reflective of not only what your business needs, but what you need in your personal life? Because just like you said, if we're not paying ourselves as a business owner, we are going to burn out. It's going to create some like internal resentment, even if it's subconscious, and that will impact the way that we make decisions in our business, because now we're going to make them from a scarcity
Mm-hmm.
place rather than from a more grounded, abundant place. So really looking at profitability is not just how many new members are we bringing in, but it's the whole financial picture, because profitability comes from increasing top line revenue. So that's obviously new members, but the big one here is retention. Because if we just
Mm-hmm.
focus on new members and we're not focusing on retention, acquiring a new member is so much more expensive than keeping an existing member. And
Mm-hmm.
the longer our existing members are here, they're happy, they're talking to their community and their families, they're referring more people in. So it's a domino effect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we obviously top line revenue has to increase for profitability, but then the other piece that people forget about is expenses.
Mm-hmm.
The more you can manage your expenses, the more profitability you have. And I think that's a big piece that I feel that I have seen is missing from a lot of like consulting opportunities is a lot of us look at top line revenue. How can we increase
Mm-hmm.
memberships? How can we increase conversion and engagement? But you can also just manage your expenses.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, not just, I know that's very hard, but like,
No, no,
but
but it's so
that it's a
true.
big thing that I think a lot of us forget about as entrepreneurs. And we're just spending and spending to try and get the top line revenue up. And when we're spending with intention, love that. We're spending with a plan. We're
Mm-hmm.
spending with like, what are we expecting the ROI to get from a new initiative? For an example that I think would really resonate with you and what you do, one of our clients recently hired an SEO and digital marketing firm to come in and help increase that top of funnel.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to do that, before we said yes, we looked at what do we need in order to make a 40% ROI on this investment? How many new memberships do we need over the next 6 months to make this worth it for the business? And so we calculated that and we put that in her business plan. And then it was like, okay, I think it was about 10 new members a month for 6 months, and that the buildup of the reoccurring revenue will, give us this 40% ROI goal. And so it's not just, okay, great, we're going to hit 10 extra members, but how do you actually integrate that into the plan, into the
Mm-hmm.
team? So it's creating that top with tone of the top approach from the business owner as the CEO to then help motivate the team and make sure the team is in alignment with the new membership goals. How do you keep them engaged and motivated? What are the tools they need from a communication standpoint to interact with all the leads that come in?
Okay, so okay, I'm a dancer. We just count to 8. Okay. So
Great.
you just you just but it's so true what you said. And when we think about those investments, you just took it like 3 steps deeper for me where and I can't even articulate it back to you. I just was like pops like yes, the yes, we need to make sure this is getting us to 40% growth or whatever you said, but then mapping that out. And this is where we need people like you. Okay. We don't all we don't all have that marketing, or we don't all have that teacher aspect, or we don't all have, we all have our gifts. And So can we go to, when does somebody go, I need help here? Like, what are those pain points they're asking? Like, so I was just out walking with my friend today and I said, I don't even know the questions to ask. That's where I get
Mm,
frustrated or I feel dumb because I don't know what I don't know. So I don't know what to ask.
yes.
And so you want to be around people to help you, but sometimes you don't even know you need the help because you just don't know. So help us understand when we need you.
Great. I think it falls into two categories. If
Mm-hmm.
you're someone who's like, ooh, I really want to open a brick and mortar fitness studio, but I don't even know where to start with getting funding from the SBA. How do I build out projections? How do I
Yeah,
create
the building out
pricing?
projections. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's a really beautiful place to get support. So you're setting yourself up for success from
Mm-hmm.
jump, and you're not a lot of times like, oh, we'll just figure it out. And in the early stages of my business, I was getting a lot of clients who were about a year and a half to 2.5 years in, and getting them from that place where they're probably 40 to 60K in credit card debt. They're barely making their SBA loan payments. It's really
Mm-hmm.
hard to
Mm-hmm.
get them out of the hole. We
Mm-hmm.
do it with
Mm-hmm.
a smile on our face, but it's hard,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
So if we can get you before and we can make sure you're helping and guiding you to making the right decisions along the way, that investment
Mm-hmm.
will be tenfold. I always
Mm-hmm.
say when we're building a new studio, we spend so much money to make sure we have the perfect lighting and the aesthetics
Yes.
and the really cool Instagram wall, and all those things are so important. But like building out the foundations of your business, I would
Mm-hmm.
say is even more important, because
Mm-hmm.
if you're not bringing in enough revenue to pay yourself and your team, then like the cool Instagram wall is just going to go away.
Right. Yeah. So is there a revenue threshold that you would recommend, or is it strictly based on the feel that they need? Like, I don't I don't know how to build a spreadsheet. Help me build out the projections.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. So the finance and flow course that we just finished takes you through literally micro step by micro step in how to build out a business plan. And so if you're somebody that's already in an existing studio and you're like, well, I'm already in it, I made the decisions that I've made, how do I adjust from here? So if you're asking yourself, I really don't even know how many members I need to achieve the profitability goals that
Mhm.
I want, or like how do I set monthly sales goals for my team to help me get there? Because a lot of studio owners I hear are just like, we just want to sell as many members as we can each month. And like, yes, 100%. But like we have to set goals, because we can't just expect 110% from the team every single month.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so we really help our clients map out goals so they are sustainable for the team. For example, January, February are typically really big
Yes.
months in the industry. So January and February have really high, not really, I mean,
Right.
aggressive goals.
Hmm.
But then after a couple months of aggressive goals, we need to give the team a little bit of a break.
Hmm.
So March and April might be a little bit flat. May, we might have a little bit higher of a goal to try and get people in before summer slowdown. We know summer is slower. So like the goals are going to go along with the seasonality of your business. September, October, and all this is depending on where you are in your market, is usually higher. Obviously, November is a big push for Black Friday. And then December can be kind of quiet, because then we're ramping up again
Yeah.
for January. So it's really taking the seasonality of like your unique business, which could be different from the seasonality of the industry. We have a client who has a studio in some like high vacation town. So they actually flipped. The summer is their high season.
Oh, wow.
And so we really just have to know your market, your seasonality, your demographic, your members, the psychographic of your members, and that
Hmm.
helps us inform all of these decisions.
Hmm.
Another question that I hear a lot is, I don't know how much to pay my team. I want to give them a price
Hmm.
increase, but I don't know when I can give them that price increase, because they're so afraid of increasing the price or the rate for their
Payroll.
studio owners and losing the available cash that they have in their bank account.
Yep.
And so just a quick tip that maybe can help you implement this sooner than later if you don't have a chance to work with us just yet. When it comes to price increases, if you're a studio that's still ramping up and you're still building that profitability, I love to tie price increases with member count goals. So if you're
Mm.
able to do the backhand math and use, okay, I need 200 members in order to pay the business and pay myself what I need as the CEO. Okay, great. Then when we hit 275, that's when the team is going to get a price increase. And you tell the team, when we hit 275, we're all getting a price, or I keep saying
Pay
price,
increase.
a rate, a pay
Hmm.
increase.
Hmm.
And so that gives something for the team to work towards as well. And it's a big goal, and we all accomplish it together, and it's
Mm.
really exciting. And we find when the team has clear direction
Yeah.
and goals, I feel like as owners, sometimes, especially if we haven't managed a team before, we want to be the cool, fun owner that everybody likes, which yes, but also we need to set direction and boundaries, and people respond well when they're told exactly what to do and
Hmm.
given very clear directions. It actually creates a lot of freedom in
Yeah.
your business
You're
because
so
people
right.
know what to do rather than just kind of like doing their best, because doing their best is different for every single person. Um, I just think it's very important to have like specific goals that the team is able to get behind, and then they can celebrate the success as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I thank you for that, because a lot of times it's inferred. Is that me or you? I hear somebody
Oh,
singing.
I think it's the dishwasher. It likes to sing when
Oh,
it's
okay.
done. I don't know how to turn off. I will mute myself.
I'm like, somebody's singing out there. It's okay. Yeah, it sounds like a timer. What with pay increase, like that's something I struggle with. I felt like it needed to be every year a little pay increase, but I'm like, I'm not necessarily doing that for me. I don't necessarily get that pay increase if my numbers are going down or whatever. So, so you help the owner find when to do that. And I do agree, and I need to be better about that, about, hey guys, when we hit, they know what number it is for us. It is that 200 student. Once we hit that 200 student, it's game changing for us. Like, can we get
Yeah.
there? Um, but to be maybe put it out there even clearer, like once we hit this is what it means for you guys. It's not just the studio. It's like, this is more dollars in your pocket that I can
Yeah,
give
exactly.
you.
And another thing I want to offer, when we're talking about compensation increases, it doesn't always have to be a flat rate increase. So like for a new studio, for example, we give the instructor a flat rate. And then once we hit that 200 mark is when they unlock the utilization bonus. So then they're getting the flat rate plus, $2 for everybody over
Okay.
a certain member. So that's a way for them to increase their pay in alignment with the goals of the studio.
Mm. Like that. Like that. Okay. Ooh. Hmm.
Yeah, some little tips that maybe we could
Yeah.
implement
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Very good. Okay. So, lots of good things happening. So when people decide they need to work with you, what does that look like? Is it month? Is it a short term? Is it long term? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so we do a retainer model with a 6-month commitment. And the
Okay.
reason we do that is because when we
Yeah.
work with a new client, we go really deep, especially on the finance side. Like we're going to get super nitty-gritty in your numbers. We're going to literally create a whole new plan for your business, identify what's already working. Great, let's do more of that. What are the opportunity areas for adjustments? And so that initial process, depending on the size of your business, can take anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks. And then we have a new plan, we have a new strategy, and we want to help you through the implementation of that strategy. So we don't just say, okay, here's your plan, good luck. Or like, here's your plan, here's
Hmm.
how we're going to support you
Hmm.
to implement it. And then there's always going to be tweaks that are needed along the
Hmm.
way. So that's why we do the 6 months. And then as the business is more mature within active core, there's always things that we can optimize.
Hmm.
And so it's a continual process of identifying what's working, what's not working, shifting, adjusting, creating a new programming, creating new sales processes, upgrading different processes and procedures. And so we want to be your thought leader
Hmm.
throughout your whole life cycle of your business. We
Hmm.
have some clients that have been with us since day one. They're almost on their 5-year anniversary, which is
Yay.
crazy. And so it's really great because a lot of times studio owners just need another person to help guide them
Yes.
and help them identify what areas should I be focusing on, because there's so many things as a CEO you have to do, and to have somebody else take
Hmm.
an unbiased opinion of
Yes.
what your numbers are telling you. And either on the finance side or the operations coaching side, we drive our recommendations based on what the numbers of your business are telling you, whether that's through your P&L reviews, where we review what happened in your studio in the month versus the projections that we created. Where did you hit projections? Where did you fall short? Whether it's doing that or through our weekly KPI review, where we look at trends and outliers to see what is happening in the business. All of our recommendations are based on your numbers and your data.
That's a beautiful thing about numbers, right? They don't lie,
Don't
but
lie.
we still are super emotionally tied to it as the owner.
Yes, for
And
sure.
we have those sacred cows in our studio that we feel we need to keep. And the numbers say absolutely not. And that sometimes that's hard to let go of. And I'm guilty of that. So this is
I am too. So it
right.
happens to all
Yeah.
of us. Yeah,
It
it just I think it's part of the process of having a business. And this is
mhm.
like your baby, and
Yeah.
it gets really emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
I
Yeah, and I love that it is genuinely to have somebody like you as a link arms person that can help decipher and help guide you because we both win, you know. If I'm winning, you're winning, and it works really well together. So this is really lovely. I, like I said at the top of the episode, I priced myself to break even for so long and didn't see that mistake until well into my business, and had somebody build out a spreadsheet for me that was life changing.
Mm.
And and now the knowledge behind that, and I can go now further. Like now it would be nice to have that like ongoing coaching help to like, okay, what do we really need to do here, or how can we do this? So it's really great that you do that. So tell everybody, how can they work with you, or where shall they go so that they can learn more about what you do and who you serve, and just clarifying your niche of people.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So our ideal client are brick and mortar fitness studio owners. So we help, you know, any modality under the sun. But having the brick and mortar is really our specialty. We
Yes.
do help some solopreneurs who have online businesses, like online personal trainers, and so we do support that business as well. But the brick and mortar is our it's
Hmm.
our specialty.
Yay.
And yeah, and we have so many different offers under the finance arm and the sales and operations arm. So we can really support business owners at every stage. And that's the beauty of working with us, is we have so many different like offers and ways to help you, from financing, bookkeeping, analysis, communication, operations, training. And so we like to do an intake and just really understand, where are you at in your studio owner journey, and where
Mhm.
are the biggest opportunity areas. And we will make recommendations based on what we think is okay. Maybe you first need to start with Jamie, who does a vision intensive, to get really clear on
Yeah.
your sales funnel and your sales copy. And then maybe that moves into finance with Lauren to really get clear on your numbers, and coaching with Lisa on the operations. And so we really take a tailored approach to each client, depending on where they need.
I
And then,
love
we
that.
like
You
to
love that
have
you have that.
offers. Yeah, it's really really holistic to really help
Hmm.
people, and it's great because then we all keep everything in house. And one thing that I've seen a lot in the industry is people will hire consultants all across the map,
Right.
which is fantastic, but they don't talk to each other.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's really a beautiful
Yes.
thing you have. It's lovely.
Yes. Yeah. And so it's
Hmm.
nice because we obviously very internal. We talk, and
Hmm.
we making sure that the recommend, even if they're not working on the finance side, if Lisa's working with them and there's something numbers related, she always runs it by me.
Hmm.
So it's like, even though you're not, in a fractional CFO offer with us, you still have my
Hmm.
eyes on your business, because I,
Yeah.
oversee
Yeah.
everyone. So
Very
you have the
cool,
support of
Lauren.
a lot of people when you
Very
work with
cool.
us. Yeah.
Very cool. So where shall they go? We'll put your
I
website,
will.
right?
Yep, activecoreconsulting.com is our website. I'm going to give you a link to put in the show notes,
Yay.
and that will give you access to a couple of our resources that we exclusively have for podcasts. So one of the, you said a fun spreadsheet. So I hope you all think this spreadsheet is fun. We have a expense calculator spreadsheet. So you can put your expenses in, put your revenue in, and the calculator will tell you where you're spending maybe too much money or too
Yes.
little money based on how much revenue you're bringing in, with some simple recommendations that you can implement based
Oh,
on
I
what the
love that.
calculator
I will
tells
be
you. So
taking
yeah.
advantage of that. I
Oh,
love
please do.
it's, yeah, I just kind of geek out on it without knowing enough, but I appreciate it because I'm not that numbers person. So, but, I am kind of that analytical wing on the Enneagram. So I
Yeah.
kind of love this stuff. So thank you. This is really helpful. My fitness studio owners, my yoga, my Pilates, my fitness studio people, if you are in need or even want to just chat and find out if, this is something that you need, connect with Lauren. This is a definite, I just love the package that you have, the different
Yeah.
operations. That's huge. That's huge. That's great. So,
Yes.
so thank you
Thank
for
you.
what you do in the world. All
Of
right.
course.
Anything else that you would like to say to our audience?
Oh gosh, I feel like there's so many things. I'll just leave you with this. One of my favorite taglines that we created is, as CEOs and entrepreneurs, we get to live life on our own terms,
Mm.
and sometimes we lose sight of that because we're so wrapped up in our business. But really, the reason why we left our corporate jobs or wanted to start a business is to create community and create freedom from ourselves. So if you're feeling like you're in the rat race, it might be time for you to take a
Yes.
breath, take a second to like reconnect with your why and why you started your business, why you're doing this for yourself, not just your community. And when you're ready to dive in to help you kind of get out of that place, we're here to support you.
Yes. And I'm just going to like echo this because if you're feeling like a rat race and feeling like slightly burnt out, you need Lauren's help because then she's going to create that freedom with cash flow and operations synchronicities so that you have that freedom. So then you can go like, oh yes, this is why I did this. This is why I put the
Yeah.
work in. So,
Yep.
so take advantage of her work. Awesome, everybody. Thank you, Lauren, so much for your time. And everybody else, thank you so much for listening. If you got any value out of today's podcast, please share it with another business owner who would find value in it. Otherwise, we would love it if you would leave an Apple iTunes rating and review. We would love to hear from you. And that way I shout you out on the podcast and give you a little bit of visibility as well. All right, everybody, have a great week. We will see you here, same time, same place next week. Peace. Bye-bye.
Thank you.